So we're back talking with Don Moore and BJ Lechner from Decision Associates M&A about company owners that are maybe not ready to sell their business, and some tips for them to consider. And one of the things we keep returning to is running your business for the day that you are going to sell it. Curious to me, in my I've got kind of an English major type of guy. My math's really bad, but one of the things you've talked about is that 1 + 1 for a strategic buyer doesn't equal 3. They want 1 + 1 = 5. Well, both of those don't make any sense to me. What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, if someone's going to buy a company, there's going to be debt associated with that, and immediately the earnings are going to go to pay for the debt. So if you can't buy that business without some plan to grow it quickly and grow it profitably, why would you buy it at all? So 1 + 1 = 3 is something people kick around, but the best buyers want 1 + 1 = 5. And I'll give you an example, and BJ can give some more. And I'm going to use a real life example without the name, but there are many names associated with this. A buyer in the Midwest buys a company in Pennsylvania. Well, one of the things they want is a distribution center. It costs a lot of money to move their product, sell their product, or make their product where they are in Illinois or Indiana, and then be competitive out on the East Coast. So they buy a company here, they have a new manufacturing center, and they can make their product here. And guess what? They can make the company they buy, they can make their product in their plant in Indiana, and that opens up a whole new market. And that doesn't even mention proprietary products.
Yeah, we sold a company to a large business that made hardware. In this company, it's software. So there's a combination of their software plus the hardware, put them in a whole different market where they could do a complete product line. Then they attracted customers from the software company, existing customers, plus their customers, and they double, triple the business very quickly.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you talking about these buyers that have, basically they've got a kind of a strategic purpose of they're looking at, either buying a company or merging with a company. They're thinking long term, etc. How do you find these folks? How do you find a strategic buyer for some of your clients?
It's good old fashioned down and dirty research. If you look at any company's product, whether it's a product or whether it's a service, and you look at their customers and you look at the characteristics of their customers, then you reverse engineer it and say, who else out there is selling to those same customers, or selling a different product or a different service to those customers, or would like to sell a product or service to those customers. And it's a lot of grunt work, but you're starting with a bigger company. So very often they're publicly traded companies, or if they're not, they're well-known companies. And with today's search methods, today's databases, the ability to start picking out companies, and I'd love to give an example of how that worked, but it would run too long, I think for today, but I can give you a real brief one that we did, and that is, we said to ourselves, there's 3 kinds of buyers for this company. One wants their proprietary product, and they want to scale it up and make it all over the United States. Another one wants their distributor network. So the two buyers wanted 2 different things. The company that wanted into our client's distribution network, that was a 1 and 1 = 3. They were going to now pick up distributors they couldn't otherwise get, and they could offer their products through that same distribution network. But the company that wanted that proprietary product intended to start manufacturing that proprietary product in multiple locations, and had the capital to do that, and already had the manufacturing locations. That's 1 and 1 = 5. Because now you got a proprietary product that you're scaling up, and you already have your own distribution network. You could grow that 5, 6, 7, 8 times over the course of as little as 5 or 6 years. Who has the better payoff? and who's willing to pay more for the company. Obviously, the one that is going to take that proprietary product, manufacture it in other locations, distribute it in their network. They could turn it from a $20 million company to a $200 million company in 5 years. They have the scale to do it. That's 1 and 1 is 5.
Well, I've heard you say that, you know, understanding a buyer's strategic purpose is a way to negotiate to basically increase what your company's worth or increase what you're going to get for your company. Is that the secret sauce, just as Don was describing it?
Yeah, I think we have to make a case of why acquisition of our client company would be important and how they would get the 1 + 1 equals a lot more than 2 or 3. And you know, example of that might be if you're located near Pennsylvania and you have your market niche. We look for people in Cleveland, Buffalo, Syracuse, Pittsburgh that do the same thing, so that they can make an acquisition of this company, and they're already in those markets, they know those markets, and they can leverage whatever it is they have already and just strengthen that. So if you have marquee customers in the state of Pennsylvania and in Erie, maybe a Cleveland company does the same thing up there, and so it's a logical acquisition for them.
And some of it is secret sauce. I mean, BJ and I have both owned our own businesses, and so it is easier for us. It comes more natural to us to look at a company in Cleveland and say, this is what we think they would get from this acquisition, and look at a different one in Harrisburg and say, this is what we think they would get from this acquisition. And so now it's harder for them to negotiate with a veil of secrecy because we can see what their strategy is. And in fact, there's been once or twice we've said to somebody, you're missing this strategy. If you acquired this, in addition to the things you think you're going to get this too. And then we say we want our client to be paid for that.
I think the secret sauce is we put ourselves in the position of a buyer and say, what would a buyer really value on this business we're trying to sell? And then we reverse engineer it, to Don's point, and then go back to the potential buyer and say, here are the things that would benefit you. And they're often a little surprised that we know a lot about their business, but that's part of the market research.
That is part of the market research, is know a lot about their business before we even give them a call on the phone.
Great. Thanks, guys. I'm going to be back with some more questions in our next segment. Appreciate it.